I started call. I really feel, Brad, that well, in 1983, in November of '83, I came here to Cleveland and at WEWS TV5, and I mean, I was here 3 years, as a weekend sports anchor. Started with just two Cleveland absolute legends, phenomenons, Gib Shanley, and then the late Nev Chandler. And being able, as I was still in my 20s, so being able as a young sportscaster to have that kind of opportunity and to be able to work with those two in particular, whom I was around and saw every day and worked with, talked to, associated with every day, that too, those kind of things, I, listened a lot, kept my mouth shut, learned a lot, and saw how they went about their daily grind. And those things too, to me, I mean, because here in Cleveland, to me, and it's amazing, people always used to ask me, well, who do you think was better, Gib or Nev? It's like, I've been with both of them, and I mean, and I was proud of the fact that okay, Gib was the voice of the Browns. And then he decided, and that comes with that comes with tremendous cachet attached.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I'm bigger than that now.
No.
And then Gib decides to, make that move and go to Los Angeles. That unfortunately for him, never really went the way he wanted it to. But then Nev takes over for him. And of course, Nev was with Herb Score at the time, calling the Indians. Mm-hmm. But Nev had been Gib's weekend sportscaster at Channel 5.
Ah, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say, goodness, I'm going to say for 6 or 7 years, Nev was a weekend guy. Gib was, the number one guy from Monday through Friday, and Nev did weekends. And then during that period of time, when I came to Channel 5, as I said, as Gib's weekend guy, Nev was doing the Indians on radio, on WTAM with Herb Score. And then during the winter, he called the Cavaliers television package on WUAB. At that time, again, there was no Fox Sports Ohio, right? That wasn't a thing yet. So there was about 25 or 30 Cavaliers games on. And this is, of course, during the World Be Free era, just before the drafting of Doherty and Nance and Price, and the Cavs starting to take off more in '86 and beyond that. So yeah, I mean and then Nev gave that up to replace Gib as the number one guy at Channel 5, and of course I stayed doing weekends then for Nev. But that's when I during that period of time, Brad, for me, is when I got my first opportunity to, like I said, I'd called all kinds of high school, small college games on the radio. But in 1985, because ESPN came aboard came on in 1980. In 1985 was when I got my first opportunity to call college football and college basketball. A lot of them, mostly MAC games at the time. So, after that, I'd been at 3 years at Channel 5, and it's like, boy, obviously I'm doing weekends at Channel 5. Well, I can't do the weekends and call these games too. So that's when I decided, I'm gonna take a shot and see what I can do as a play-by-play caller. And so I did, and then, so while I left Channel 5, I never left Cleveland. I stayed living here. And so that's kind of how everything turned out to get me through then getting the Cavs job, as you said, in 93 and 94 season, and then ultimately 3 years later I got the Baltimore Orioles too. So it's listen, I'm honored and humbled. It's been a great ride, and it's one that you just, I think you hope, I know I do, I put in perspective, and to me, you gotta pay your dues, and you gotta be willing to work your way up. And even that doesn't guarantee it's going to happen.
Nope.
But I know so many guys, Brad, that and women too, that have called sports and are still, they're my age. They're over 60 years old and still calling high school games and love it. And hey, man, I certainly understand it, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like I said, there's not 100% guarantee you're ever going to get to the major leagues, right? It's just like if you're playing any sport, and there's no guarantee. So, but yeah, I've been blessed, and it's been a thrilling ride and a great ride for me.
And when you look back at those days with Gib and Nev, what's your favorite memory with those two?
Well, I think for Gib, it was just how, he was so dry. I mean, he had a very great wit and a great sense of humor, but it was understated and real dry. I mean, Gib wasn't a man with, with a lot of words, so I found out that early too. It was kind of, and again, I say this with all due respect. I mean this. It's not anything. This is not, it's like, when Gib speaks to me, that's when I know he'll want me to talk. And he'll want my opinion on something, or he'll want a response to something. Otherwise, Gib was like, hey, young fella, don't bother me, okay? So, but I love that about him. I really did. And I mean that. It was like, listen, this is how this is how I do things. This is the way it is. This is how I want you to do things. Oh, and we don't need to talk about it too much. We got that understanding, right? Yes, sir, Mr. Shanley. We got that understanding. So, no, I thought the world of the guy, and like I said, Gib wasn't the type. So at that time, Gib was, and again, now this is 1980, late 83, Gib's in his mid 50s and I'm 29, so I mean, socially, were our two worlds, no, but again, I mean, I respected the man greatly. And I thought, man, he's calm. He's revered around here, but he doesn't, he doesn't take any BS either. Gib is a tough-minded man, right? Now, Neville was, a little bit more gregarious, a little bit more. Nev did the voices and imitated a lot of people. And Nev was, always ready to, he talked for sports with you for hours, if you wanted to. And two different guys. I mean, two distinctly different personalities and how they approach things. But I was honored to be able to, like I said, spend 3 years combined with both of them, and to get a great understanding of what they are and what they meant to Cleveland sports fans. And that I did because, two iconic Cleveland sports fans.